you looking for healthier, fuller hair? Do you want extra money for bills, trips, extracurricular activities for your kids, or do you want to replace your entire income? Monet is the answer. Our products are Leaping Bunny certified, vegan, and Monet can be used by anyone, including your kids and pets. Message me on my Instagram to partner with me. Founder shares are available, and as a market partner, you have access to uncapped bonuses, 45% commission, 35 to 55% off discounts, on top of all-inclusive paid trips. Right now, I also have a free gift for anyone that partners with me, so don't miss out. You can message me on my Instagram at LizChilvers87.
We still do 7 NUFC Matters show a week for free. But if you want to help support NUFC Matters, then there are a few ways of doing it. Hit the like button on each live broadcast and video. This helps the channel grow. Hit the subscribe button and select the all notifications bell so you don't miss a single show. If you want to help us financially, then you can join the channel using this button with the membership starting at $1.99 a month. Or you can drop us a donation in the chat using a super sticker. We're also looking for sponsors. If you'd like your brand advertised on the flyers for the show and featured during the ad break, then email John at nufcmatters.com to arrange today.
Attack. It feels like I've been talking to myself again, but it's the only way you're ever gonna learn. You look back and it's all in the past. I'm dwelling on the thoughts I cannot say to you. If I don't say the words, then maybe it's not true. And it feels alright when they come and say to you,
good afternoon, welcome along to NUFC Matters. It's a talk of the Toon and it is live. Not very often we do a live one, but Ben Jacobs has had to withdraw and do a pre-record, so I thought, well, we'll do this live. And good to see you, Sid, from Songs from the Attic, 1977 on YouTube. How are you, mate?
I'm good, man. Yourself?
Very good. And we've got something called football to talk about after the 2-0 win at the weekend against Hull City, which was, as I described, I think, on Monday's show, a blow the cobwebs out kind of game. And Newcastle hit the road and hit the flights to Japan. Urawa Red Diamonds was the opposition today, and the first game of the Japanese tour. Jacob Murphy scoring 2 goals, Alexander Isak scoring again, and Lewis Hall found the net in Tokyo's Saitama Stadium. Nick Pope also registered a penalty save against the J-League hosts. There were rain showers, which I think we're all quite used to in England, but they did stop just before the 7:30 local time kickoff. The temperature, which I've already seen somebody in the chat asking about in Japan tonight, was 26 degrees, and the humidity was 90%. Exactly, yeah. Isak scored within 2 minutes. Harvey Barnes and Joe Willock linked up, and a great goal. Another low shot for his, third goal in as many warm-up games. And Willock really pulling the strings. Good to see him back in a black and white shirt. Green shirt. Yeah, but he's he ultimately was back in the side, back doing what he does best, and hopefully that's a good sign for us going into the start of the season. They did manage to equalise, but as I said, Jacob Murphy managing to get a goal and then a second goal, and Lewis Hall with a fortuitous deflection made it 4-1. Nick Pope, of course, pulling off a wonderful penalty save as well. Various substitutions again in the second half, and obviously some notable exception, missing players as well. Lewis Miley, Sven Botman, Jamal Lascelles, Callum Wilson, Matt Targett, and Joe White still missing due to injury. Garen Kowal, Ellis Stanton, Dylan Charlton, Johnny Emerson, Anthony Munda, and Kieran Thompson didn't travel to Japan, they all featured at Hull. There was only 13,763 there in a 67,000 capacity stadium, so it was rattling a little bit.
Disappointing.
Yeah, very disappointing. And this is Newcastle's third ever visit to Japan, for those of you who like these kind of things. It is the 6th game there. And yes, you've heard us speak about it before, but don't forget, we did win the Japan Cup there. We did. Japan 11, Newcastle beat them 4-0. Chris Waddle got 2, Keegan got 1, Jeff Clark got the other. We drew against Assyria 11, McCreary getting the goal. That was 1-1. We played Yamaha Motors. Chris Waddle won that game with his goal, 1-0 win. And then we played Botafogo, which was a 0-0 draw. And that was 2 wins and 2 draws, which were enough to see Arthur Cox's Magpies lift the Japan Cup. That's enough of the history lesson. Let's get back to what's going on at this moment in time. And yeah, listen, it's a pre-season friendly sit, and like I said about Hull City on Monday night, it's time to blow the cobwebs out. And the starting 11 wasn't because of the transfer or the lack of transfer action, which I guess we'll come to later. It's got a familiar look around it, that starting 11 today.
Yeah, I was quite impressed from the bits. I was working at the same time, so I was dipping in and out, but quite impressed with some of the things that I saw. I mean, Pope being back is a huge plus, and he looked fit. And I don't know if you noticed as well, he looks like he's bulked up. He looked physically wider in terms of like his muscular frame. So that was, I looked at his arms, thought, bloody hell, look massive. So that was quite impressive. His save was magnificent. If you go and watch it, if you haven't seen it, his penalty save was outstanding. That was really impressive. Every goal that we scored was top draw. There wasn't one goal where you thought, oh, well, that was all right. It was a tap in. They were all top-notch goals. Isak's was bizarre because he got a lovely ball through. He just sort of slid between a player or two, sort of held it back, and then thought, right, I'm going to knock it in now, and then knocked it in from 20 yards. It was a super finish. I think the best goal, I think, was the Willock goal. The Murphy goal, where Willock beat a man for pace, then beat another man, flicked it through for Murphy, and Murphy low. It was a lovely finish, really nice finish. That was an excellent goal. Lewis Hall's goal was terrific as well. And then Murphy, I think he got another goal as well, didn't he? So, I mean, all-round good performances generally, and it's hard to say because it's just a friendly, and some of them went off after the first half. I mean, the likes of Willock, obviously, it's a big, take time to get their fitness levels back. Although Big Joe struggled a little bit, but I don't have a problem with that. He's one of those players. Rob Lee used to be like that. Would take him 4 or 5 games to get back into the groove. So I had no issues regarding Big Joe. Who else was impressive? I mean, Isak looks fantastic at the beginning of the season. He looks fully fit. Lightning, just everything's assured about him. We all know he's silky and with his skills, he's really class. But I thought they were excellent. I thought they were all terrific. Hall, magnificent. Again, the other day, I mentioned it, was it last week or the week before, when I mentioned that he could play as a holding midfielder, and he played it the other day against Hull and looked sound, actually really, really good. That might be his position.
My concern is I've seen Howe do this before, but he plays somebody in a position throughout all the pre-season friendlies. But let's face it, when Tonali's available, Tonali's going to be playing in there because he's the man that you've spent such a great amount of money on. But Hall is doing really well against lesser opposition. It has to be said.
You have to do it though, don't you?
You still got to do it, yeah. But that is my only concern because Hall could be setting himself up for a fall here by agreeing to play in that position, playing in that position, and then he finds himself out down the pecking order at full back if that was an opportunity for him. But he's clearly a midfielder.
Oh, well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because he's almost taken up the Anderson position in some respects, where he can go between both. And so as good as I am about Anderson going, you can see they've got a natural replacement there. And as I said, I thought that the lad that they bought from Bournemouth, I suspect he'll be the left back to start the season. I really do think that. So I'm not, even though I would still start Hall, I'm not convinced he will start. Eddie Hall likes taller fellas, doesn't he, in the defence? But Hall has to get a place for me somewhere in the squad. Absolutely has to. And remember, Tonali's not allowed to play till September. I would be more inclined to start Hall in the middle with Bruno and Big Joe.
Yeah.
Although, of course, Willock didn't do himself any harm today whatsoever. Looked fabulous. So, no, all in all, very, very impressive. I thought the other keeper came on and he looked pretty decent. Pulled off a good save, you know. He's claimed the ball really well. Odysseus, I'll call him Odysseus because I just love the whole sort of Greek mythology concept of it all. But yeah, and then you got the young kids coming on as well who were all right. You know, it's noticeable. I mean, people have like setting the stalls out on some of the young lads at the minute, but they still look a bit away from really starting in his sort of first 11 players. So for some of them, they might get minutes here and there, I suspect, during the season. And for others, I suspect they'll be loaned out if they're not in the reserves.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll tell you what I will add, though, which I mentioned before, is the disappointment in the numbers going to the match. That tells you Newcastle are still not a big draw in the Far East. If that was Manchester United, that would be sold out.
Yeah.
And if that was Liverpool, that would be sold out. So we still have an awful long way to go to sort of capture the market and really sort of break through there. Because 13,000, is that what you said it was?
Yeah.
That's terrible. That's absolutely terrible. You know, it's like a 25% of the ground full, something like that. Maybe it's less. My maths ain't great. And yeah, that's not great. So they're a long way short in terms of being able to attract a wider range of fan, and of course all the merchandise that goes with it as well. So yeah, that's disappointing. I thought that was disappointing. Well,
yeah,
you know,
I would agree.
Yeah,
I would agree. I would agree with you, mate. I genuinely think that we will be a bigger pull as we move forward. But at this moment in time, we've only got, as we've mentioned before, probably three blue chip players: Anthony Gordon, Bruno, and Isak. And the team that we put out there, it's a team, like I said, is familiar. But with the exception of Alexander Isak in there,
I would probably add Big Joe to that, if I'm being honest.
Well, he's a Brazilian international. He's a Brazilian international these days. But that plus the bench is not quite as an attractive pull as playing Bruno, Isak, Gordon. Do you know what I mean? It would be a lot. Yeah. And how many Japanese know them players?
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, if you looked at that list there that you had on there, I mean, obviously you wouldn't sell Livramento and you wouldn't sell Hall and you wouldn't sell the big four that we mentioned, but all the rest would be up for sale. If a good price came in for any of them, Kraft, Byrne, even though I'd be loath to sell them, Longstaff, Willock, Murphy, again, be loath to sell them. Loath, I wouldn't want to sell most of them, if I'm being honest. But, they're not the players that you would automatically want to keep. It's the big four, and maybe, so as I say, some of the younger ones that you would desperately keep. So there's still a long way for Newcastle to progress. But, it's there, nice strides forward, good. And then looking at the bench there's some really promising young kids coming through there. I'm going to get the pronunciations wrong, so I do apologise. Is it Sanusi?
Yeah.
He looks like he's going to be a good player in Tyne. And Harrison's got big prospects. Jamie Miley's an interesting one because he's of an age now where I would be expecting him to play. So I suspect Newcastle have to loan him out or sell him. And then obviously Almiron, I'll have to say, and I don't want to be, negative, but he came on and did nothing. He came on and did nothing. Yes, I suppose he's running around getting fit, which is fine, but I want to see a little bit more. So I was a bit disappointed in him, I'm being brutally honest. And I would be trying to ship him out, but it's whether we can actually get anybody who's actually prepared to buy him is another issue, So I know the Saudis have put a bid in, and quite rightly, if you're the lad, then you don't want to go there, then you don't go. Absolutely. Why should you be forced to go somewhere you don't want to go to? But my thoughts with regard to him.
Yeah. Interesting to see the new strip finally launched, we put a few images up on the on the show last week, and obviously there had been one or two leaks about it. But what's your thoughts on the green and white strip? Are you a fan?
I like it. It's based loosely on the 99 strip. It's got a little bit of that going on with it. I quite like it. I quite like the badge. Although I'm going to be quite controversial as a person who went in the 80s. I wasn't a big fan of that badge. I was much more of I prefer the old magpie badge. It looks nice. It's a nice strip, really quite well designed. I won't be buying it, may I add. But
very similar to that one.
It is similar to that one, which I think was about 99. So it's a good strip. Like it, could see why it would sell a lot. Why is the second strip not on sale yet at the moment? I've heard various different reports.
I mean, there's unconfirmed reports that it's been, a stocking issue. They didn't realise Newcastle fans would come out and buy everything in sight, which is what they've done. But as I say, that really has become, it's a truth. It's come from social media. Until we hear why or wherefore, maybe we won't. Then ultimately, we're just guessing at the moment. But that's the rumor. I've seen the same rumor as you.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. It'd be nice to hear eventually why, because you would have thought it would be up by now. But nice strip, nice strip. Do like it. I like the fact that they've gone a little bit retro. As I say, the badge wasn't really my big thing, but I can absolutely see why that's going to appeal to people. And I know Adidas have done it with Arsenal, and they've done it with Man United, and they've got really, they've gone various crests on them, which I like. I like all that. I think that's really cool, and it appeals to, as you say, the older fan, as we now are deemed to be.
Yeah, we definitely are. Away tickets, no change with them. Friday saw Newcastle divulge the details of the recent ticketing survey. The main points were this: no change to the loyalty point system, with points only applied to season ticket holder accounts once it has been confirmed that it was used to gain entry. There will be spot checks of ID. That will continue. That's unchanged, with the manner in which they are conducted to be subject to review. And no change to the situation where away tickets can be transferred, but further consultation to take place over a possible limited change to that rule. So you can get the full document if you go to nufc.com, actually. If you scroll down to the bottom of their website, it's still there. You can click the link; it'll take you straight to it.
I read the possibility of maybe two games where you can sort of swap them out. Is the thought of rumor, isn't it? Which doesn't really make much sense to me either.
What's your thoughts on all of that? It's pretty much no change. It's as you were.
No change. Well, there should be. There should be. I'm not. It's the spot checks things a bit. Do any other teams do that?
I think one or two do, but not everybody does.
Yeah. No. My thoughts on the away tickets are just people don't agree with it, and it just saddens me that you can't get to certain games. And everybody, don't get me wrong, if you've been going for years, you absolutely have priority to go ahead of me, for example.
Yeah.
And I don't go to very many. I haven't been to many away games in years, since I was younger. But you'd like to get the opportunity to go to the odd one. And not have to wait to get like 1 point, then roll down to 10 points or something ridiculous. I would have changed the whole system a little bit, and I would have been a little bit radical about it. And again, that wouldn't have went down well with many people, where I would have went down the route of, having a cap at the points limit and giving people a certain amount of points. If you got a season ticket, for example, then you automatically get a point for every home game that you go to, and so on and so forth, and just varied up a little bit. But I would have still given a priority to, and maybe it's taken 4 years to get to that point, to where you reach those people who are up at the upper end of tickets, just to balance things out a little bit more and maybe a little more fair. But, as I say, everyone's got their own different views and thoughts on it. And I know I once put it out there and got absolutely shot down for it. But, that was just my opinion. Don't have to agree. And people didn't.
What was your issue this week? Because season tickets are available now. I mean, the club put them up there, didn't make an announcement. I'm presuming an announcement was on its way. Unfortunately for the club, certain organisations decided to put it out there that season tickets were available and that they'd managed to download theirs. I'm sure they thought they were being helpful. Well, in fact, it probably caused quite a but anyway, regardless of who said what and who didn't.
Yeah, well, I've seen that email. I'll not name them, but I've seen that email. I've got these new glasses doing my head in the rise, you know.
So then you text me, let me know the situation. Yeah. It was a bit of a clot on, wasn't it?
It's an absolute farce, and you know, I commend the club on changing the website to a certain point, and that's great. You know, I love all that, the various things you can click onto shops and all the rest of it and buy various goods. Brilliant. But my big gripe is if you click on your ticketing account, is the phrase. I'm quite tech savvy, and I've struggled to find where this ticketing account is. I've got older friends who don't know where the ticketing account or how to get onto it at all. I had to go through Magpie Mover to click onto that to then find my account. That is so stupid and so badly designed. Just migrate your ticketing account to your account. Literally you've got an account on the system with your name and your number, membership number. Why can't they just migrate your ticketing account to it? And that's it. It's dead easy then. You can put my name on. I can click on it. Dead straightforward. And I can see my tickets. And I can see that I've signed up for the cup tickets or not, or whatever the case may be. And it's dead straightforward then. And you're not having to try and find various maneuvers on how to get onto that account or go through past emails from a year ago thinking, right, well, I think I had it on there. Oh, it's gone now. Oh, well, I'll try this. I'll try and find that. It took me 25 minutes. And as I say, I'm fairly tech savvy. So it doesn't take a lot for somebody who's very clever in terms of IT to migrate that across and put it onto and assign it to everybody's account. Literally assign their ticketing account to their account. It's not hard. Just literally put your name, click on it, and underneath you should have a section with your tickets. That should be it. But it's not there. It's not on the system. So I don't understand. I don't understand why it's not there. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. So it's an absolute nightmare. And it'll save loads of aggro with people ringing up the box office and haranguing the people who are working there. You know, it'll cut down most things down to a minimum of issues. So that's a real big flaw as far as I'm concerned with regards to the system. And that should have been one of the first things sorted out. But sorry, enough of my moaning about it. It's just such a pain. It really is.
All about opinions, mate, and everyone's opinion is valid. Yeah, you know, we don't like to ramble on about tickets on here. It drives people's nuts in, unfortunately. But
well, yeah, other things as well.
It's
so
just
for example,
simple.
my best mate is I couldn't make one of the games last year, so I'll give it my best mate Ian, and put his account number in as somebody paired up with me. And you go on, it's not on there anymore. You're thinking, well, what? How weird, man? That's just ridiculous. It should be straightforward and really simple. And we shouldn't have to be doing WhatsApp group texts with all my mates I go to the match with, sort of everybody sort of trying to advise each other how to do things. You know, it should be very, very simple. So please sort it out, Newcastle United. It's not hard.
Yeah, exactly. Last thing we'll come to before we take a quick break and then talk music. Yvonne says, I haven't been aware of any season ticket availability. I guess I'll have to go to the box office again. Yvonne, there hasn't been an official announcement, Yvonne, despite the fact that various people have now got their season tickets, including me. But that's the problem. There isn't any information come from the club, and there should be something put out there. Maybe there will be, maybe there won't be, but I do believe there'll be an email comes to everybody, and it'll be a fool's guide like it was last time to tell you how to download it. But as of yet, I haven't received an email. So you will get one, Yvonne, but maybe ringing the box office is a good idea. Bear with us, because I also had to ring the box office to get onto, believe it or not, now you can't add yourself to a travel group online, which in the past you could do. You've now, one person has to set the travel group up, and then you individually have to ring the box office to say, I want to go on that person's travel group. And you're only allowed to have 10 on a travel group if you all want to sit together in an away game. So I did ring the box office, 0344 372 1892. 0344 372 1892, Yvonne. And it only took me 2 minutes to get through. I do know, though, somebody else who was trying to get into the same travel group as me did ring the box office yesterday. They gave in after 45 minutes of no answer. So whether they were on that break, I really don't know. But it just shows you there's two sides to the coin. 2 minutes for me. I've got straight through. I don't have an official hotline. I just had to ring the same number as everybody else. And, you know, my mate Tracy tried to ring yesterday and had no joy getting onto our travel group. So good luck, Yvonne, is all I'll say. But hopefully you have the same kind of luck as I did. Just want to talk. I tell you what, we'll keep Amanda until after we've talked music. Just want to talk about Sir Bobby Robson. Sid, and just your memories of Sir Bobby, because today, as we're doing this live, is the anniversary of Sir Bobby's passing. And I've been out and about today and actually bumped into Tom Maley, the man who made the Sir Bobby statue. You know, and it was interesting having a chat to him about Newcastle United and just having a bit of a catch up. I did do a thing with him, an interview on this channel a few months back. But yeah, Sir Bobby, I mean, yeah, it's still incredible to think we actually had him as our manager. It's, you know, it was a proud moment to have him as our manager.
Yeah, and the sad thing really is the fact that we should have got him in '97, and I didn't realise until John Gibson mentioned it recently that he was going to come, until he heard that one of the other board members had went and approached Kenny Dalglish at the same time, and at that point he basically said no. So yeah, what he would have done with the likes of Ginola would have been just great, you know. He would have been absolutely perfect for the club at that time. But to be fair to him, came in '99. First game was it 8-0 against Sheffield Wednesday. Shearer banged in 5. That was a great game, that, like. And yeah, I mean, clearly just transformed the club, did a great job over the 5 years that he was there. And we played some really scintillating football. He did a lot with some average players as well, let's be honest. Titus Bramble and Andy O'Brien as a centre-half pairing is not, it's not inspiring as a centre-half pairing. So he did really well with some, I would say, average players, and then did really well with some top players in terms of transforming Shearer's career, because Shearer had to change his style of football because his legs were going. He brought in a real flair style of football again, so that was really nice to see. We had some terrific players. We had some really, I mean, obviously, you know, like Solano, for example, and Speed. It was you know, it was quite exciting for quite a time. And it was the 1 year when we came third, and at one point we were top of the league, and we looked like we had a real chance of winning the title that year. And then Man U thumped with. That was exciting stuff. Yeah, very, very exciting. Top manager. I just wished he came 2 years earlier. Would have been my wish, because I think we'd have won something. I think we'd have won something if he'd inherited the Kevin Keegan team. I'm quite sure we would have done.
I agree, mate, 100%. I think if he'd come in and taken over from from Kevin Keegan, I do believe we would have gone on and won some silverware. But he was very, very responsible. He was a loyal guy, and somebody who, decided that he'd made a promise and couldn't come to Newcastle at that time. Barcelona obviously gained his vast knowledge, but great times under Sir Bobby, and thoughts always with his family on this anniversary. Okay, we're going to have a quick break. We will be back with our music interlude after this.
A big thanks to all our sponsors, Skips and Bins. You can find their website at skipsandbins.com. Contact us, www.skipsandbins.com/contact. Say hello to low-cost waste disposal with pay-as-you-go and contract waste management. A big thanks to Mr. Vicky's Sauces, handmade in Cumbria. Their website, mrvickies.co.uk. Email info@mrvickies.co.uk. Telephone 01768 210 102. Thanks to United Group Travel. They are the Travel and Tourism Award winners in 2024. Their website, www.unitedgrouptravel.com. Email beverly.ugtl@gmail.com or telephone 01670 632 460 or mobile 0791 666 4174. Just £30 per person deposit. There are no strangers on our tours, just friends you haven't met yet. A big thanks to Media Arts. You can find them at www.media-arts.co.uk. And don't forget, we are a podcast. You can find us on iTunes or Spotify or other podcast providers. If you want to help the channel grow, then hit the like button, the little thumb underneath the video, click share and share to your social media, or join the channel for as little as $1.99 a month. If you want to take out a one-off payment membership, go to nufcmatters.com and hit membership. And for a £25 fee, you get a scarf, a cup, a pen, and a membership card. You can also put a smartphone over the top of this QR code. It'll take you straight there. And don't forget, we also help the food bank on this channel. nufcfansfoodbank.co.uk is a website where you can make a virtual donation today.
And it's good afternoon to Rob. How are you, mate?
Very good, gentlemen. How are you?
Very good, mate.
Good to see you, Rob.
Good. And you.
Give Up the Ghost UK is where you can find Rob's band on Facebook, so go and give them a follow. And Songs from the Attic 1977 is Sid's YouTube channel, so go and give that a subscription. Rob, the album that you're not going to be talking about today is this. It looks like a Panini sticker album pose, that one, but without the top
That's
on.
true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Is that a hearse? It's absolutely massive.
It's one of those old American cars, isn't it? But interesting stuff, mate. Interesting stuff. I don't know where you get these from, but I think, I'm glad we don't listen to them. Put it that way.
No.
So, which album are you taking us through today?
Well, as mentioned last week, I am going to do the Longsands Meet Me in Spanish City. This was released the 10th of June, 2012. I had done a little bit of research and a lot of influences that I was, picking up on when I was reading a little bit in the bio, but I personally didn't hear that, and I think that's a good thing. So the guys are from Cramlington, strangely enough, where my cousin was from on last week's show. So it's produced by Alistair Barnes and Fred Purser, written by David Stanier and Ian Barnes. So it opens with the soundtrack to Steve's show, this one. It's theme opener. It's called Worlds Collide. Theme opener to this show and the album. Brilliant. Really fresh, sharp. Love the vocal range on this. Very snappy, really sharp drumming on this. I really like that, and I'm going to pick up on that as we go along. Really nice harmonies, not overdone, which I like. Nice texture and guitar parts on this. Really like the lyrics. It's really, really good and very original. We've got Bully. It's quite a chanting sort of opening. Again, guitar hooks. Brilliant. Really, really impressed with the tom work on this one. Nice bass part after the first chorus. Really good. Love the breakdown in the middle 8 section. It's really interesting. It's really, really good. I was pleasantly surprised. We've got Little Britain. It's sort of more of an acoustic sort of feel to it. It's a good tune, sort of good to tap your foot to. It's quite subtle key changes on this. Again, loving the drum work, the tom work. Really, really good. Very impressed. Got Streets and Pavements. Again, it's like one of these happy, feel-good songs. Really good backing vocals again. Nice harmonies. Offbeat drumming. Simple and fresh. Really, really good tone to this one. I love the production on it as well, I must admit. There's nothing that was picking up on, any obvious sort of, what I hear from my own ears. Yeah, you got Shut Your Mouth. All I can, Sid, all I can think about with that one is Julian Cope, as soon as I read this one, brilliant song. I think this is one of my favourite songs so far. It's spot on. I don't know if this was a single or released as one. If not, why not? Really, really good song. Versatile vocals again. Its vocal range is really, really good. I'm quite surprised at the different ranges he can get to on this album. You got University of Life. I think I'm an expert on that one now. Sort of like a downstrum pop tune. It's it's a very radio friendly song. So far, an album that's definitely got their own sound. If I was to categorize them, I'd say new wave. There's nothing obvious that I'm picking up on. Definitely their own style. Great lyrics, fun, cheeky, and it's made me giggle. A lot of this, like one-liners on it. It was really, really good. You've got Let Love Rain on You, soft atmospheric one. Great build up to the chorus, works really well, especially the drum parts on the chorus, really good. Again, brilliant backing vocals, not overdone. It's nothing worse when you get backing vocals that are just too much or above the lead vocal parts, but it's just done really, really nice at the right time. Really good. You got the chancer, strong, powerful. I think this one, I would imagine, very difficult for the drummer doing the recording on this one, if he's using a click track, which I would imagine he would have done. Again, great high-pitched range from Trev, sharp, nifty tone, really, really good. That's what I'm getting with this. It's like sharp, nifty, snappy, clean. That's really good. They got Tyne, good mid-range tempo. Again, the album just now, it's just flowing brilliantly. There's not like down songs coming to the end of an album, which I'm finding in most of my reviews I'm doing. It's quite brilliantly refreshing. A good pop feel to this one. You got North-South Divide. Brilliant cymbal work from the drummer. Really, really good accents on his cymbal works. Really, really good. Not sure if it's a different singer on this one. Not too sure. It's got quite a military feel on this one. Again, good foot tapping song. Now, this is where I was very surprised because, as you know, I'm always mentioning the last song on every album seems to be, just not interesting. This one, it's moody, dark, very clever arrangements on this one. And it's my favourite song on the album. The last song is my favourite album. It's called Spirals. Really, really good. Really love this song. It was different from the rest of the album. It's just, it just suited me, my ears. So that's a review of it. I'm just wondering now if there's ever been any vinyl releases from the Longsands. If not, Release World's Collide EP, a limited amount or something like that. And obviously, before I hand back over, it was really nice to meet Trevor and Gaz. Had a very interesting, deep diving conversation with Gaz, which I hope to continue next time I meet him again. Really, really top guys. Really, really good. Really enjoyed that. It's a 9 out of 10 for me. Good album.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, I mean, they have released something on vinyl. They've released quite a few CDs. Worked with a few faces as well. They worked with Howard Marks there, who was in one of the videos. They also did a succession of challenges. This was the rematch between Mike Tyson and Trevor, who took him on at the Game of Conkers, which went it went global. That went worldwide, worldwide news. And Mike Tyson was great sport, great fun. Amongst the other challenges, Gaz had a egg and spoon race along a beach against Steve Harmison, who had just won the Ashes with England. We also had a game of darts, which was between, if I remember rightly, Paul the drummer and Ricky Hatton at Ricky Hatton's house, which was another challenge that we did. We also had a game of British Bulldog against Newcastle's Falcons. Stan, he had a hole-in-one competition against Frank McAvenny at a golf course in Gateshead. And rock, paper, scissors took place at Manchester City's training ground between Ian and Shea Given, who was the goalkeeper down there at the time. So we were good at PR, put it that way. I used all my tricks in the trade and all my friends to get some decent PR. But the Tyson one went worldwide, and I think the greatest moment for the Longsands was Whispering Bob Harris was a big fan, and he invited the lads. I couldn't make it, sadly. I was gutted, but they actually did a live session at the BBC. They did 45 minutes live session on Whispering Bob's BBC Radio 2 show. They cracked Radio 2. They didn't crack Radio 1, which is what you have to do these days to get chart success. But I am working on them. They are going to get back together to do at least a gig next year, which I've got already penciled. So keep an eye out for that. And I am still trying to push them to do that third album, because there is a third album in them. It just needs to be looked at and sorted. But yeah, great stuff, mate. 9 out of 10. It shows they can do better, so they better do this third album.
Yeah, very impressed.
Good stuff. All right, Sid, as always, we'll hand over to you next, mate. What are you going to take us through?
It's this.
Rubber Soul.
What's to Rob's annoyance? I've gone with the Beatles, and we're doing Rubber Soul. And the reason for it was because I was in Liverpool for a few days with my wife, and it's just an incredible album. There we go, me and my infinitely better half in Liverpool. So yeah, Rubber Soul is just an incredible album. I mean, what's amazing is this album came out just 4 months after the Help album. That was also fantastic in 1965. And in 4 months, the sound had changed. So they'd gone from a really great sort of singles, writing great singles and stuff, and a couple of great songs on that. It was a terrific album, by the way, Help. But they suddenly went a little bit more folky and a little bit more Dylan-esque, if you like, on Rubber Soul. So the influence of Dylan is really obvious on this. I love the sleeve, by the way. I think it was, I can't remember how they did it now, but they sort of put it out of sync, and it works brilliantly. It looks fantastic. I used to have this on my university wall, this sleeve. So it's a great album. Starts off with Drive My Car, which is just a fabulous song. You know, I love Ringo's percussion on it. I don't even think he's underrated anymore. I think everybody realizes how great he is. His percussion is just magnificent on it. Tambourine really to the fore, just brilliant. Rob might disagree, but there you have it. Norwegian Wood is brilliant. It's about John having an affair. It's not even subtle. I love the sitar on it as well. Just beautiful, really classy songs. One of those songs that everybody busks. Even I do it. It's just a great song. Nowhere Man, class. Very, very clever tune. Great harmonies on it as well. The harmonies are fantastic. This is arguably, it's in most cases, this is probably the last album where I would almost say John almost dominates, because after that, the second half from this album onwards, it's basically Paul who seems to dominate the band. Think for Yourself, great song. George song, fantastic harmonies, very Dylan-ish. The Word, clearly influenced by James Brown and all that funk movement that was going on. Michelle, class, we all know it. Girls, a great song. John, lovely. I'm Looking Through You is superb. McCartney's song about his relationship with Jane Asher. In My Life is just a sensational song. I love the Johnny Cash version as well. May I throw that one out there as well? And his is really stripped back and beautiful because he's just about to die. It's just a great song. Wait's good. Again, another Jane Asher type song. If I needed somebody who's got that sort of George, that spiritual feel with like a Birds sort of sounding guitar. And then Run for Your Life is great, apart from John's sort of misogynistic lyrics, which are really dodgy, I have to say. But it's a fantastic album. It's a 5-star, absolute whopper of an album all day long. Belter, absolute belter. And I think this is the album that you could argue it was Help, but this is maybe the album that makes them go from magnificent to just as good as it gets at that period of time. And they went really from a singles band to a proper albums band at this point. In many ways, you could argue, all right, and I'm sure Dylan's got a claim to it as well, and you could argue maybe it's the Who with My Generation album, but certainly more the Beatles, I would say at this point, that this is the beginning of the rock album. This is where rock album, 1965 is probably more the era where rock albums really come to the fore. So yeah, top notch, top draw. So there we go. That's my album choice.
Good stuff. And I seem to have mislaid the book cover. Did you send me a book cover?
I did send you it. Yeah, don't worry if you can't see it. It's not a big deal. We can do the book cover another time. I forgot the title of it myself, actually.
Hold on. I was looking through the photograph thing. And
Revolution in the Head. Revolution in the Head. And it's by Ian MacDonald. I think he used to write for, was it the NME or Sounds or something like that? And basically, he reviews every single Beatles song and tells you the story about where it was written, how it come about. So if you're a Beatles nerd, absolutely brilliant. It's really great stories in terms of, more so for me towards the latter period, the Abbey Road era, trying to work out which songs was written when and how, and I love all that. So it's fascinating to, there you go. So it's fascinating to read or listen to, as I did with the audio book. So highly recommend it because they really go into depth about each song. Of course, She Loves You was mainly written in Newcastle, for example, which I'm always proud of. But yeah, top draw. Go if you get the chance, go and read it. It's brilliant. Top book and really, really well researched, which is superb. Well done.
And if you want to go on to the songs from the 1977, what did you do on there?
We did. We ranked the Beatles albums, and it was interesting because Jeremy, one of the guys, is American, so we do get different viewpoints and perspectives. At the minute, I'm having IT issues. I've got about 10 shows to upload, and I can't get them on at the minute, so it might take another 2 weeks before I get it sorted. But this one was an interesting one because everybody does the Beatles, but it was interesting to see the order that we did them in because there were a few. I think all four of us had different order of number ones, so that was quite different. Mm-hmm. You know, mine, I'll openly declare it. Mine was the White Album. That was my number one. But yeah, we all had different choices. So yeah, enjoyable show as well. Pete Bell, who's from Newcastle, was on there as well. Great musician. If you get a chance to go and check Pete out, great fella, lovely fella.
Great stuff. What's happening with the band, Rob? Anything else happening at the moment?
Rehearsal last night, the first one since the gig. So it took me 2 weeks to get over my cuts and bruises. So I'm using pro drum gloves now, and I never thought I'd ever have to do that. But yeah, it worked fine. 2 new songs put in the set list. One is called So What by Anti-Nowhere League. And
yes,
I've covered that as well. Yeah,
Metallica did a great version of it, didn't they?
Yeah, just not politically you know what I mean. Yeah. It's not for kids, and another Queens of Stone Age one in. So yeah, that's it. We've got next gigs in a couple of weeks' time in Arbroath, so all good.
Good stuff, mate. As always, Rob, pleasure to spend a bit of time with you. I look forward to seeing you again next week, mate. Have a good week. Take care.
Cheers now. Bye-bye.
Look after yourself, man.
Bye.
Great to have him on, and we'll finish up the show as always with a little bit of Newcastle United. And yeah, Amanda Staveley came out this week and bared her soul. I think Sid's probably the best way to describe it. In an interview with The Athletic, which has then been picked up by all the nationals. She said she was devastated to leave Newcastle United. The emotion poured out of the words in The Athletic. She said it's a wonderful club. It feels bittersweet. She said it's become part of my DNA, something you love so much and don't want to let go. It is very painful. Interesting insights I felt into, you know, what the club was like when they walked in. There was nobody there. So literally they had to do everything.
It was a ghost chip, wasn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah. I mean, Lee Charnley was literally doing everything, you know. And ultimately she feels upset that she's had to leave. But quite obviously, you know, she came out and didn't lay the blame anywhere. She didn't blame anybody. She said that everything was fine.
Actually.
She talked a little bit about the PRS situation that they'd found themselves in before they departed, and also a link with potentially a return to football. So pick the bones out of that, Sid.
I think it was an explanation and great, you know, absolutely fantastic in terms of explaining the whole situation. I think it was laying the line there so that she can go into another club. Basically, it's setting the scene up for I will be getting another club in the next 6 to 8 months or so. I think that's what we expect. Now, it's where she goes, I think, is the next stage, isn't it? You know, in terms of what she does. And you know what? There's not one fan can come on and criticize. She's done a fantastic job. She's changed our lives, which I think there's not many people get a chance to do that in life. You know, let's be honest. So she's changed our lives in terms of a number of us were at the point of giving up our season tickets because it just become the point of, well, not again. This is so tedious. I'm going because I normally go or because I enjoy seeing my mates and that's it. Not because of the football. The football's almost an afterthought. And now football's back almost at the forefront of your mind and it's there and it's lovely and it's that excitement and that thrill. And she is the person who's enabled that to happen. So as I say, I will always forever be grateful. So I think she's right in terms of she appreciates she had to go because it's quite obvious now that she was possibly treading on toes. I think is the way that she sort of inferred it, and I think that's fine. I think that's absolutely fine to say so, and she's did it in a very sort of professional manner. So well done to her. She's explained the situation well. I personally, as I've said at the time, wasn't very happy with the whole PSR situation. I think they had all year to know this was going to occur. and should have maybe enforced sales in the January window, if that were the case, because we're in big trouble. We're not in big trouble now, but we were, and we potentially sold one, maybe two top players that we didn't really need to sell and could have got rid of others. That may have alleviated the whole situation. So
she tackled the health situation as well.
Yeah,
She didn't have to speak about that, but she's been quite open. The fact that she's got Huntington's disease and that it's a gradual disease which she'll never be cured from. But I thought that was quite a, I thought it was a great interview, to be perfect.
Yeah, it is. And it's a great
everyone.
thing to come out and speak about, because it's not easy to live with, obviously. So I thought it was fabulous. I did. As I say, I think she's putting it out there that she's going to get another club though as well, and that's part of her job. But obviously, part of us always going to be black and white. It's for us, it might be a bit weird. Might be almost seeing your ex-partner off with another person,
Yeah.
But where does she go? And I said to you, and I think you paraphrased me incorrectly, Davey. I said I can see her going to Everton, and I didn't know anything about it. I'm just surmising. So I can see Everton being a perfect fit. I'm going to see it now. I could see Sunderland happening.
Gateshead's a good club to get involved with. And
Sheffield Wednesday, in terms of the fan base and the numbers, you've got to go somewhere with a decent fan base. There are clubs out there, Leeds as well. So there are clubs out there.
Yeah, which Tottenham's the one that's been linked with quite heavily.
I bloody hate Tottenham. I had.
She seemed to have a good relationship with Chelsea. Her and Mia Dad, in those days.
Chelsea, I just don't see Tottenham. I don't see it.
They live
Chelsea,
in London.
Definitely. She lives in London.
They live in London.
What the obvious one in London is? It's West Ham.
West Ham. Too many cooks there, isn't there, really?
There is. And if you get rid of them all and you end up with one or two, then, West Ham has the potential to be a really big club. Hideous ground, may I add. But
even the home fans don't like it.
It's terrible. It's miles away. But it has the potential to be a really, really big club. Nice fans as well, may I add. I don't know where she'll go. I think West Ham would be a great fit, actually, when I think about it. She could buy it.
Tom just go to watch Dunstan.
Fair dues.
God loves a trier, Tom. God loves a trier.
But no, she is putting it out there that she's going to get another club. And the other one, of course, could be Monaco, because she does have links there. Now, if she's to buy Monaco, then the link with Newcastle United could be very, very close, couldn't it?
Yeah, of course.
A scratch your back sort of relationship. That could work really, really well. You could send players out on loan there and so on and so forth, and not officially be tied to a club. Who knows? But she is definitely going to go and get another club. And it's, as I say, it's that situation where you see her going. So it's a bit like when we had Kevin Keegan, and he came back as a Man City manager and a Fulham manager, and I was devastated, even more so in Man City. Actually, I could understand Fulham because they were never going to sort of, just a little small club in London, but Man City sort of hurt a little bit, when he rocked up. Although Shearer scored in 9 seconds, if I remember rightly, that day. But that's how it felt. It was like a little bit of a dagger to the heart when I seen Keegan on the other bench. It felt so wrong. I'm sure he felt the same.
We've got a couple of weeks to go, just short of a couple of weeks really, till the big kickoff. 17th that we kick off? It's a couple of weeks to go. Are you nervous that we haven't signed anybody? And Stu Penman was saying on Sunday he expects somebody to come in before the end of the week. But
I've been seeing it every week, and I'm wrong.
We do seem to be. We've signed another youngster from Blackburn, one for the future. But again, nothing major. Nothing major's happened. Let's put it collectively. Is it because everyone's back? The stories about Gordon won't go away. Yvonne mentioned it earlier. She said talk coming out of Liverpool saying Gordon's about to leave for the Reds. Swap player. What do you guys know about it? If anything, we don't know anything. But I've seen the same rumours as you.
I don't see it happening.
No, I'll be gutted if we lose Anthony Gordon. I really will be, you know. And he
I'd be
doesn't want
gutted,
to
and it's
go.
funny, innit? Because when we got him, I was thinking, oh, bloody hell. And Eddie Howe's turned him into a top draw player. Top draw player. Should have been playing every single game for England. That's how good he's become. And a mature young man as well, may I add, which is just as big a deal as becoming a good footballer. I would, we all know the positions. We need a centre half and a right winger, and then probably another centre forward, just due to Callum Wilson's lack of availability. But more importantly, we've got so many players with 1 year left on their contract. What we're gonna do? We're gonna let them all go for nothing at the end of the year. Callum Wilson, there you go. See you later on. Well done. You're being brilliant. We're gonna let you have a free transfer. We're gonna lose the chance of 15 million, and that 15 million could equate to about 45 in terms of the way it's all worked out in PSR. We could buy another top draw striker for roughly that. Certainly your second choice striker. You know, and the same with Trippier. I suspect Trippier will go, but Miggy is another one. Miggy, I suspect. I think he'll stay. I don't want him to, but I think he'll stay. And I'm not trying to denigrate him as a player either. I just think it's his time to move on. And I'll be perfectly honest, I would say the same about Longstaff. He's got 1 year left on his contract. If you were to sell him, all right, you get 15 million, which is probably what he's roughly worth. If you get 15 million for him, because he's a club player, you get 45 for him the way it works out. Arsenal are going to go and look like they're going to get Mikel Mourinho for 25. I'd run back and snap him up. He's a top-notch player who was fantastic in the Euros, scored a great goal against Germany, and he's got everything to play. Holding midfielder, can play attacking midfield. He's got lovely... We've all seen him. We know what he's like. We know he's a top-draw player. He stood out in our crummy team at the time, before he fell out with Rafa. And that's what I would do. What do I know? I'm just putting my opinion out there. So I appreciate you can't go out and sell every single player, but we can't let players go on a free transfer either at the end of the year. We've already been bitten this year with PSR. We can't be in the same situation next year. We've got to make sure that we bring some money in as well and add it to the kitty and buy better, as Keegan always says, buy better players. You know, there's no point just going with players that Eddie Howe already knows what they can do and he trusts them. That's all great. But are there better players out there? If so, go and get them.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not panicking yet. Ideally, you want these players in to play these friendlies and to gel with the team. But
the problem as well, Steve, though, is the Eddie Howe fit thing as well. I mean, it takes some players a while to get fully fit in terms of the Eddie Howe's expectations of fitness. So if we buy a player tomorrow, let's say, how long is it going to be before he's actually physically able to play up to that level? Is it going to be 2 weeks? Is it going to be 4 or 5 weeks? Is it going to be after the international break? Will Eddie Howe still be our manager after the international break? These are all the little quandaries and questions that we've all got to find out and discover in the next few weeks.
It's looking more likely that he will be after the latest interview that he gave. You know, his mind's focused. There's been no approach. And you would have thought, had England been interested, there would have been an approach by now. So one would imagine, Eddie Howe will be the manager, and we will continue as we are. But as I say, we've got a couple of weeks left. Hopefully somebody comes in this week, and Stu gets his wish that before he does his show at the weekend, we have another player within our ranks. And by the time we do our show next week, mate, we'll be able to talk about somebody else. The clock has beaten us. Thanks to everybody who joined us live. And quite a few watching, 360 watching. That means 300 of you are watching on Twitter today. We put it out on Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook and Instagram today. So thanks to those of you watching. If you are on any of those platforms, go on to YouTube and please search NUFC Matters and hit the subscribe button. We do 7 shows a week. Thanks, everybody. And thanks, Tom. Nice to get a bit of feedback. Take care, Stephen said. Great show today. Sid, look forward to seeing you next week, mate.
Take care, folks. Bye-bye.